The evening of March 12, 1998, was unusually quiet at Delhi's Hazrat Nizamuddin railway station. Commuters moved with the usual rush, but there was an odd chill in the air. Train 1972, the Jaipur Express, was scheduled to leave at 9:15 p.m. Nobody paid much attention to the man in a gray coat standing on Platform 4, clutching a worn leather suitcase. He looked ordinary, yet something about him seemed slightly off, as if he didn't quite belong. The train departed on time. It was a full train, crowded with passengers returning home from work or heading for weekend vacations. Among them was a young journalist named Arjun Mehra. He had boarded the Jaipur Express to cover a human interest story in Rajasthan. Arjun noticed the train's unusual silence as it left the station. Even with hundreds of people aboard, conversations were subdued. It was as if everyone instinctively sensed something strange. Around 11:00 p.m., the train entered the stretch between Delhi and Jaipur, where dense forests and abandoned stations dot the landscape. A thick fog settled over the tracks. Lights flickered inside the compartments. Arjun, curious, walked through the train to observe other passengers. Most were asleep, but a few kept glancing nervously out of the window. One elderly man whispered to himself repeatedly, "They are watching us. They are watching us." Arjun felt a chill run down his spine. Then, at precisely 11:47 p.m., the train radioed the control room. The voice over the intercom was calm but tense. "All systems normal. Approaching kilometer 112. Visibility low. Over." That was the last recorded message. Moments later, the train simply vanished from the radar. The control room scrambled to contact the train, but there was no response. No distress signals, no unusual readings. It was as if the train had disappeared into thin air. Local villagers later reported seeing strange lights near the tracks that night. Some claimed it was like a curtain of fire hanging in the sky. Others said they heard music coming from the forest, haunting and ethereal. The railway authorities launched a search, sending patrols along the entire stretch between Delhi and Jaipur. Nothing was found, no wreckage, no passengers, no train. It was as if it had been erased from existence. Meanwhile, Arjun's family received a cryptic letter, postmarked Jaipur. The handwriting was shaky, almost frantic. "If you ever want to see him again, forget the station. Follow the fog." There was no return address. The letter vanished from the postal system as mysteriously as it arrived. Authorities began investigating but were met with dead ends. The train was never officially found. Some dismissed it as a tragic accident or a failed cover-up, but many locals whispered the word no one wanted to speak aloud: supernatural. Arjun's notebook, left behind in his compartment, contained one unusual entry. "They are not human. I saw them through the fog, their eyes like mirrors. They beckon us into the darkness. We are already part of it." The words were smudged, and the page had burn marks, as if someone had tried to destroy it. The story spread, captivating media across India. But official statements remained vague. Train 1972 is missing. Investigation ongoing. Families grieved. The world wondered, but the forest kept its secret. The next morning, a special task force was deployed. Officers combed the forests using dogs, helicopters, and infrared scanners. Villagers reported hearing train whistles, even though no train was visible. One patrol team encountered a strange anomaly. The tracks appeared twisted and broken, but without any physical damage from a derailment. It was as though reality itself had warped. Meanwhile, rumors began circulating about passengers who had allegedly returned from the train, but not entirely. A man appeared at a village 30 kilometers from the last known location. He was disoriented, naked, and his eyes reflected no emotion, only emptiness. When questioned, he muttered the same phrase repeatedly: "The tunnel. The tunnel is infinite." He vanished before authorities could reach him again. The task force reviewed surveillance from nearby stations. CCTV and station logs showed the train leaving Delhi, but after the foggy stretch it vanished from all cameras. Even the tracks showed no signs of passage. Some officers claimed to feel an inexplicable fear while walking near kilometer 112. Radios would intermittently emit static voices, whispering names and locations that did not exist. Theories ranged from espionage to technological anomalies. Some suggested secret military experiments, but journalists like Arjun speculated something far darker. He contacted friends in Jaipur, only to discover several hotels had booked the train passengers, but the names didn't match any official records. Phone numbers were disconnected, families denied ever existing. A retired railway engineer, Mr. Suresh Patel, told reporters a chilling story. 50 years ago, he had heard of trains vanishing in the same forest stretch, always under dense fog conditions. "It comes back every few decades," he said. "The forest claims its toll." No one believed him, but local folklore spoke of an ancient curse linked to the route, where the train tracks intersected with an abandoned colonial tunnel. The tunnel, they said, led to another realm. By the second week, search operations scaled down. The public lost interest. The families of the passengers refused to accept closure. One mother, crying in front of a camera, said, "They are alive somewhere. I can feel it." Her plea echoed across media channels but yielded nothing. Meanwhile, Arjun received an anonymous tip. "The train is not gone. Follow the signal of kilometer 112 at 11:47 p.m. Record it. You will understand." He knew it was risky, but curiosity and responsibility drove him to investigate personally. He packed his camera, notebook, and recorder and boarded a night train along the same route, hoping to witness what had vanished decades earlier. Arjun's journey was silent. The fog had returned. As the train approached kilometer 112, he noticed something strange. Reflections in the window were not his own. Instead, he saw multiple faces staring back, passengers who should have been there 24 hours earlier. They mouthed words silently. "Help us." The train slowed automatically, stopping exactly at the location where the disappearance had occurred years ago. The air grew thick, almost tangible. Arjun stepped out. The ground seemed normal, yet the fog distorted distance and perspective. Shapes moved within the mist, impossible to identify. Figures with glowing eyes and elongated limbs. He followed a faint whistle, leading him toward a derelict tunnel hidden among the trees. The tunnel was not on any map. Its entrance appeared older than the railway itself, carved from sandstone and blackened by age. Inside, the air was warmer, almost alive. Whispering echoed from the walls. As he advanced, he saw trains, like ghost trains, frozen mid-motion, passengers frozen mid-action, staring blankly into nothingness. Arjun realized he had entered a dimension outside normal time. The ghostly train appeared to repeat its journey endlessly. Some passengers were aware, screaming silently. Others seemed to accept their fate. The man in the gray coat was there, older yet untouched by time, gesturing for Arjun to follow deeper into the tunnel. He wanted to retreat but felt compelled to move forward. His recorder picked up sounds that no human could produce. Metal grinding without trains, whispers in unknown languages, footsteps echoing without bodies. He saw a panel of mirrors, each reflecting a different timeline. Some mirrors showed trains arriving safely in Jaipur, others trains vanishing in countless ways. A sudden gust extinguished all light. Arjun felt a hand on his shoulder. Turning slowly, he faced nothing. Yet a voice whispered in his ear, "Every journey has its shadow. You are part of it now." Panic set in, and he ran blindly. When he exited the tunnel, the fog had lifted. The train outside was empty. His watch read 11:47 p.m., frozen in time. Back in Delhi, Arjun attempted to report what he had seen. He showed photos and recordings, but they appeared corrupted or blank. Only his notebook held the evidence. Sketches of the tunnel, strange symbols, and notes describing events impossible to verify. he began receiving messages sent through his own email and phone. They contained coordinates, times, and cryptic warnings. The train waits for those who remember. Do not follow alone. At first, he thought it was a prank, but the tone, handwriting, and timestamps matched details he could not have fabricated. Local authorities refused to reopen the investigation. However, Arjun discovered another pattern. People who saw the train's disappearance began behaving oddly. Some disappeared, others became obsessed, recounting similar experiences in dreams, feeling compelled to board trains at night. Families reported strange behaviors, murmurs of unseen travelers, sudden absences, and objects moving by themselves. Arjun theorized that the train existed partially in our world and partially in another. Those who vanished had crossed the boundary, trapped between dimensions, while a few escaped to tell the story. The phenomenon seemed cyclical, tied to fog, timing, and the ancient tunnel. Months later, Arjun returned to the scene with a small team of researchers. They installed cameras and sensors. At exactly 11:47 p.m., the same fog descended. The train reappeared for a brief moment, shimmering like liquid metal. Passengers were visible, frozen in place. The gray-coated man waved at Arjun before vanishing. The recordings captured static, glimpses of ghostly faces, and a faint voice repeating, "Every departure has its echo. We wait, always." The team left in terror. They never recovered all footage. Some tapes were destroyed mysteriously. Arjun published his findings in a book titled The Vanishing Train of Rajasthan. It became a cult classic, studied by paranormal researchers and urban explorers alike. Locals avoided the foggy stretch at night. Some reported hearing whistles even decades later, confirming the legend lived on. Train 1972 was never officially found. Official records eventually marked it as lost under mysterious circumstances. For those who knew the truth, it was far more than a disappearance. It was a doorway, a warning, a story that blurred the line between reality and something far older, waiting quietly in the forests between Delhi and Jaipur.